Welcome card readers, April here on Tarot and Witchery. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. The tarot card of the year is the Chariot, so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to kind of dive in. If you're new to tarot, if you're old to tarot, I'm looking forward to all of us kind of chiming in down below about our thoughts about the Chariot itself and this year ahead with the Chariot as our card guiding us through the year. But before I jump into it, I want to let you know that you can sign up for my newsletter down below. And when you do that, you get all of my freebies. They come to you in the mail. But there are also some freebies down there below that you can get right now if you're interested. How has your new year been? It is raining so much right now outside. It's super dark in here. I'm going to put on some lights and get over the table so we can really talk about the Chariot and what makes it so fun and wonderful. And later on today, I'm going to head down to the river and see just how high it's getting, because we have a tendency to flood here and then get trapped on the farm. I will have a video about that on my other channel, which is Natural Witchery, and you can check that out if you're interested. For those of you who aren't familiar with how we come up with the card of the year, we simply add up the numbers of the year. 2, 2, and 3 equal 7. Which is our card of the year, the Chariot. As we jump into this, the first thing I wanted to ask you to do is to stop and think about what the Chariot means to you. And if you've ever had any profound moments with the Chariot card itself, like what does the Chariot really mean to you before I kind of convolute that or stick my ideas in your head? I think it's kind of important to check in and say, you know, hey, the Chariot really means this to me, and this is how it's been powerful in my life and my readings. The tarot is so deeply personal, and I think what makes this year exciting is that if we pay attention, we can learn what the Chariot means to us and have a deeper relationship with the Chariot card. Here we have the traditional Chariot, and he's obviously someone of importance in this beautiful carriage, moving away from the village, it looks like, maybe going out into the town, who knows, pulled by these two sphinxes. You'll see the sphinxes aren't really, there's not a lot of motion going on in this card, which I've always found a little bit quizzical about this rendition of the Chariot. However, you see there's one that's black and one that's white. You know, it's so interesting to me because I feel like one of the aspects of the Chariot is this idea that we are going somewhere, that we are picking up momentum, and yet we have these sort of spirit animals driving the traditional rider-waite. And again, there's this sense of creating balance, of balancing, however you want to look at it, your shadow and your light, the light and the dark. Yet they're part of a team. They're kind of like the yin-yang, part of a dichotomy. So the Chariot to me, a lot of times, is about that momentum in our life. One of my favorite Chariots is this one right here from the Druid Craft. I feel like she looks so powerful, and there's really a sense of momentum. There's a sense of these two horses actually being put together as a team. They feel like much more cohesive rather than here where these two sphinx, it's like, are they going in the right direction? Are they going in different directions? Are parts of yourself pulling in different directions? Sometimes when the Chariot comes up, I ask myself, am I divided? Am I at a place where I need to bridle myself and get going to where the dichotomies within me, the things that seem to be juxtaposed to one another, actually can work together as a team? One of the questions that you may want to ask yourself in 2023 as you're going through and you hit like those sticking points is, you know, have I put it together? Have I put together a team within myself? How am I driving the Chariot? How am I driving the cart in my life? Do I need to make adjustments? Do I need to get a hold of the reins? I think the Chariot card has me always asking questions. It's not every card in the tarot has me asking questions. I'm curious down below. Tell me what kinds of questions come up for you when the Chariot comes up for you in a reading. She looks really powerful to me, and it feels like she knows what she's doing, that she is a person of importance, that she really has a sense of her power and how to make it work. I mean, she's so good at what she's doing. She's actually riding with one hand on the reins and one hand on her scepter. So I love this version of the Chariot. And then we have this, the trash panda. Yes, you knew I was going to put it in there because I love the trash panda. You know, keeping it a little bit lighter, we've got this raccoon, and I love that he's on lucky bus number 13. That's super fun. And he has hitched a ride on this bus. He's kind of or maybe this is now that I think about it, sorry, it's not a bus, it's a mobile home, a motor home. I love this. He's just jumped up, he's hitching a ride, he's hitching it by night. And so I guess this brings up in mind to me as I think about 2023, what things do I want to jump on? What kind of energy do I want to jump on and let myself be carried by? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to create our own wagon. As we go through 2023, there are going to be plenty of wagons that come along, plenty of motorhomes that come along that we're going to be able to hitch our energy to and take a free ride. And I think that's a cool thing to be looking at as the Chariot comes up in a reading too, is there an opportunity for me here? Is there some flow that's available to me in my immediate surroundings that if I grab onto, I can take myself to a new place? And, with this card, I'd say there's a bit of adventure in it too, because, who knows where that's going. But sometimes we need to be doing that. We need to be a little bit less serious. And that's why I kind of threw this one in here. Next up, the Green Witch Tarot by Anna Mora. We have the Battle Wagon. And in here, she talks about a principle, which I was so happy when I came across this card because I had a revelation about this a long time ago about the Chariot, which is one of the things that can happen if you're really studying the tarot and doing a day-by-day draw and actually journaling on it. You might find that you really learn some profound lessons by linking it back to the card that day. But I digress. So the Battle Wagon you see here, and this is a Celtic chariot, and it actually is a wagon with 4 wheels on it, and it's meant to take the warrior where it needs to go. And in this one, she depicts the chariot without any reins. He's actually controlling it with his sheer power, and he's driving the team where it needs to go. To me, the Chariot is a card that tells me that it's time for me to channel the energy in and down the reins to the horses, so that it's my power that's driving the chariot. It's my power that's being directed. The horses are simply a depiction of myself and my ability to move forward faster. So I think one of the revelations that I've had that has really helped me about the Chariot is this idea that my emotion is what really drives things forward. And cluing into that, allowing myself to key into what's really driving me, what's pulling me towards flow in my life, and to allow that energy to, again, move down and be the direction or the director of my life and the Chariot. And to me, this goes back to, when I say emotion, goes back to the fact that the astrological correspondence for the Chariot is Cancer. And of course, this is a water sign. One of the things that's really cool about water is that it moves in and around and through things. It is such an incredible element. We're made up of it. It's all around us. It's everywhere. It's what makes this planet Earth so amazing. And again, it's linked to emotion. One of the questions that you may want to ask yourself this year, if you're at a time where your energy is ebbing, like it just seems like it's flowing away, and you draw the Chariot, it's again, I think it's about where is the emotion that I can pull on in myself right now. And when I say emotion, I don't want you to think I'm saying, just like flippant sort of feelings, but deep emotion, like the well of emotion within you. How can you stir that well? What is being stirred within you during that time? How can you draw on that well, pull that energy up, and allow that to help you be propelled forward? Here's the Star Tarot by Kathy McClelland. I love this deck. This is an amazing deck, and there's always so much going on in these cards. Again, you can see the dichotomy, the Tao here. A dichotomy is not two separate things. The yin-yang is not the yin and yang, it's the yin-yang. It's these two forces that are one. And I think that's something that I've been thinking about this year, is how what is within my shadow, which is what I look at shadow is the part of my power that wants to come to light, that is waiting there. This is my most powerful self, is found here in what maybe frightens me or feels unknown or is waiting to be discovered, is latent, or even subconscious. Sometimes our subconscious can be so incredibly powerful. And then what we know about ourselves over here, and those two working in consort with one another. I love all these stars. The cosmos seems to be shining. It's this cosmic moment. I feel like the Chariot is one of these cards that heralds a cosmic moment in our life where there's so much being offered to us and it's deeply personal. I feel like this card is again about those personal lessons. It's something that's happening to me. And so again, like sometimes if you're in a reading and you feel like you draw this card and maybe you're falling into victim mentality, which is again, when we are looking outside of ourselves for the reason that something is happening and we are pointing fingers and discharging, when we blame, usually when we're in victim mentality, we're blaming others for what's going on. So we're discharging or releasing our power and giving that power to someone else. This is happening to me because of you. You have all the power and I don't. I think it's a great time to be like, am I doing that? Am I consolidating my power? Am I pulling that back in? Am I making this personal? Am I letting myself be empowered? And how is this moment allowing me to move forward in my life? There is so much momentum. 2022 felt a little bit stagnant to me. It felt a little bit like walking through marshmallow a lot of the time. Let me know down below if any of you felt like that. But I feel like there's been something that's given way. There's a lot of astrological stuff going on this year with Jupiter, and we have all planets direct for 2.5 months coming up here pretty quickly, which is not the norm. So there's a lot of forward momentum. So when the Chariot comes up, like, where is there momentum in my life? Do I have my hands on the reins? I get to direct this power. I get to choose which way it goes. You know, don't try to turn your ship too quickly. You may capsize. But I think this is such a glorious moment in time. 2023, I really feel like is that time of forward momentum. It is that, look, that celestial moment, all those stars just aligning and bringing us into a place where we get to live those dreams and direct that power and let it be something new. I do want to kind of contrast this with the other 7. The other 7, you may be saying, there is no other 7 in the major arcana. Oh, but there is. It's the Tower, because 1 + 6 = 7. And again, I've chosen this deck because I really love the feel of this tower here. We've got this comet coming down, and we've got, is the sun going up? Is the sun going down? Who knows? We've got this cosmic light coming down and kind of going down to the core and releasing the spirit that's within us from this. What is this? Is this a volcano? You know, is this some kind of mound? But a cosmic moment. Anytime we have a lot of momentum going on in our life, we do have the potential to run into the Tower. And the Tower, I think this year for us, is really about those moments that realign us into being released into our freedom and into our power, to keep coming back into who we are in a new and fresh way. So I've given you a lot of questions that you might want to ask yourself in a reading this year when it shows up. But I also wanted to say that, hey, when you're reading your cards, if you feel inspired, think about the Chariot and the way in which it is drifting through your reading, around your reading, overshadowing. Like when you look at a card and you look at an energy, and then you put this ability to have momentum, to dive into your personal power and authority. When you have the chance to direct that power, what does that card feel like? How does it change the feel of that card? Especially for readings of shadow work that you're doing. Like when you're in those dark places where you pick up your cards and are like, I just need an answer. Remember that this is the energy that's overshadowing you all year, and really capitalize on that in your readings. Next week, I will have a video out on a cool way to use the Chariot, an actual reading with the Chariot as the center card. And I hope you'll tune in for that. In the meantime, you may want to dig out your favorite Chariot card and put it out around the house to sort of remind you of the Chariot, that this is that year of the Chariot. And you may want to switch that card out throughout the year to your different decks. And that might actually get you getting out those decks and looking up and reading in the different books, grabbing those different books. I've got a couple out here, grabbing those different books, reading up on that card and really getting into this card, paying attention to how it's showing up in your life, what it feels like to you. The more that you draw personal experience to a card, the richer it becomes. And although there are some general meanings that I think we all kind of want to stick to in the tarot, excuse me, I feel like this is so deeply personal, and outside the main framework, this is an oracle of self-reflection. This is really about you and what it means for you. So make it yours this year. Until we meet again, go ahead and leave me a comment below. Please like this video because it helps the algorithm. But also let me know what your favorite Chariot card is, like what deck has your favorite Chariot card and why. Or tell me something that the Chariot, like an experience that you had where you're just like, that's the Chariot to me. Until we meet again, break out those cards, have an amazing year filled with momentum and the ability to bring the dichotomies within yourself together and make something that's really exciting.